Hey everyone, it's Pavo here. Now, we haven't done a movie trailer reaction or even a movie review for a long time, but I thought we needed to do it because Avengers Endgame came out this weekend. I saw it yesterday and feel that I just had to let you all know what I thought about it. For me, it absolutely is the culmination of all of the MCU, 22 movies, 11 years since Iron Man first started the whole thing. It's just a triumph. Infinity War for me was the best movie of the whole lot. I've got a feeling that this is going to take over for one specific reason. Let you know, there will be spoilers. This will be spoiler filled, and I'm going to just try and keep it to a short time. So I will probably forget and not mention a lot of what goes on because it's 3 hours long. A lot of stuff happens in this movie, and I was trying to think, because I like to do pros and cons of movies, what I liked about it and what I didn't. But for me, there isn't much to not like in this movie. It's for 3 hours. It doesn't feel like it when you watch it, in my opinion. And it is just packed with so many moments that if you're a real fan, you're going to love. You are absolutely going to love. Starting off with Tony Stark. Tony Stark, they did an amazing job. I'm assuming it was CGI or some kind of thing. He gets found in space by Captain Marvel, him and Nebula. Obviously, it was all in the trailers that he's stuck in space at the start of the movie. Captain Marvel comes to the rescue, and when he comes back to Earth, he starts having a bit of an argument with Captain America. That whole feud from Civil War is still going on, but they make him look... So, because obviously he's been he hasn't had any food or water for weeks, and he's got malnutrition and looking very thin. And he did, and the way he acted, he looked like, he just looked like he'd been ill for ages, and he was on a drip, and he looked weak, and he looked thin, and you could see his bones, and he looked gaunt and hollow in his face, and it was just well done, so well done. And once they've decided what they feel they need to do is they need to find Thanos, make him reverse snap, and because he's used the stones again, he's done the same thing on another planet. And so they find him, they go through space, they find him, and Thor chops his head off within the first sort of 10-15 minutes, chops his head off, because now the stones have been destroyed. There's no way of bringing people back. So it feels like the Avengers have lost again. So where do they go? And then roll up Scott Lang, because a rat walks over all the controls and brings him back from the quantum realm. He obviously doesn't know what's going on. 5 years has now passed. His daughter has now grown up to be... I mean, it feels like she was only like a little girl when we saw her in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and she's now like a fully grown teenager. Yet it's only been 5 years, so I'm not quite sure how that works. And there's a lot of things. As soon as you start talking about time travel, which is what happens, you know, you can pick holes in it and you can unravel it, and you can say, well, yeah, but if that happens, why are they there and why are they there? That's just a part of the time travel. And they do mention it in there, because Scott Lang will talk about Back to the Future, and Rhodey does as well, War Machine. They would talk about, oh yeah, but what about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Back to the Future and Bruce Banner, who is also now the Hulk. He's like an amalgamation of the two, and Tony Stark. So it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like it does in the movies, which I thought was a really funny part. Thor has now gone off the rails. He's in a total depression, and he is like Lebowski is something that I think Tony Stark calls him. And his hair's all grown out and big bushy beard and an even bigger belly, and he just doesn't care anymore. He doesn't want the word Thanos mentioned because he feels he's let the universe down, if you like. But it all comes to fruition that they believe that they can go back in time, and if they grab the stones at certain points in time, they can bring them all back to their present and reverse snap, bring everybody back, which is what they do. They manage to do that, and Hulk deems himself that he's like the strongest one that is going to be able to take the force of all the stones. He manages to snap, and it looks like it works. The birds are singing. Hawkeye gets a call from his wife, and at that split second, when Scott Lang says, "We've done it," Thanos attacks, because No, stay with me on this one. Nebula from 2014 has managed to swap places with the present day Nebula back in 2014, comes back and tells the Thanos of 2014 where the six stones are. So he's able to then obviously rule and do what he wants to do. So Thanos and his army attack and destroy Avengers HQ, and that's where the battle starts. And so Thor and Captain America and Iron Man and Hawkeye and Ant-Man, I think that was it. Maybe Rocket and War Machine. They all fight and in various ways are defeated, and it looks like Thanos is going to win. Thanos has ripped Captain America's shield in two, and the scene that you see in the trailer of him grabbing the shield and tightening it up, and I thought he was going to say that I can do this all day, but he didn't. And it looks like that's it. This is the last stand. And then something beautiful happens. It was the moment. I haven't had that moment in a movie apart from Star Wars where I was crying and had a big smile on my face at the same time. I don't know what they call them, but when Doctor Strange starts making the swirly, fiery light patterns, and all of a sudden all these different armies, you had the Wakandan army with Black Panther, I think you had Valkyrie and the Asgardian army, and you had then the Guardians of the Galaxy turned up, and Spider-Man turns up, and it was just a glorious... Yes, it was for the fans, but it was beautiful. It was an amalgamation of all of the movies, and to see all of those people, all of those characters turn up, and the look on Thanos' face that, like, I'm in deep shit now. And then battle ensued, and another great moment is all of a sudden Captain America is worthy of wielding Mjolnir, whatever you can, Mjolnir. So again, Thor has Stormbreaker, Captain America has the hammer, and they go to work, and then cue Captain Marvel, along with the other women that's all there. You know, not Black Widow. Black Widow isn't there because she has to sacrifice herself so that they can get the Soul Stone, in a sort of a replay of the Gamora Thanos death scene in Infinity War. It's just glorious. It's just a glorious, glorious film. It's very, very funny in places. In fact, you know, when Thor is going off, you know, and he looks far from the hunk that is Chris Hemsworth. And it's just, and the way that they go back and they see, it's a bit like Rashomon, when you see things from a different angle. So they're seeing certain scenes from the original Avengers, from Thor: The Dark World, from what else? Guardians of the Galaxy. You're seeing it from different angles and different things happen. Captain America fights against Captain America, which was really, really fun. It's just, if you're a fan of, and it's a cinematic movie. It's 3 hours long. It doesn't feel like 3 hours long. Right at the end, something happens, which I will explain in a second. You sort of think, oh my God, there's going to be another 20 minutes, and there wasn't. Before we get to that, the big tear-jerking moment, Iron Man, Tony Stark, he has to put the glove on to finally beat Thanos, fights with him, manages to take all the stones, because Thanos ends up with the glove in his hand again, ready to click, and Iron Man goes and manages to sort of fight with him. And Thanos even does click his fingers, but he's got no stones in his gauntlet. And Tony Stark has them in his Iron Man gauntlet, and he can't quite take the power of them all, although he clicks. And all of Thanos' army starts to wither away and ash away, and even Thanos at the end. So he's defeated, but Tony, as he's only a mere mortal, can't take the power of the stones. And in a beautiful scene, there's a beautiful scene when him and Peter Parker embrace after Parker comes back, because he's guilty for the fact that he lost the kid. And that was lovely, because that was a bit of a throwback from Spider-Man Homecoming, when he goes to get the door and Peter Parker thinks he's asking for a hug, and he says, no, we're not there yet. He grasps in and hugs him so much, and that was a beautiful moment. But when you can see that Tony is passing away, Pepper, who's there, who's fighting as well in an Iron Man costume. I'm sure there's an actual name from the comics for that. She says to him, you just don't worry, you rest. Or I can't remember exactly what she says, and she says, don't worry, we'll be fine. And then that's when he passes away. And that was you could hear sniffles and gulps in the crowd for that moment. And then the final moment was beautiful as well. The final main moment was beautiful. And the bit that I was talking about is that Captain America then has to go and take all the stones back and put them where they need to be. And I thought, my God, this is going to be another 15, 20 minutes. We're going to see all that. But they're very clever in regards to the time. Bruce Banner, stroke the Hulk, says, well, it's going to take a while for him, but for us, it's going to be 5 seconds. So off he goes. After 5 seconds, he doesn't come back. And they're saying, no, come on, we need to get him back. We need to get him back. And obviously, he isn't coming back. But then Anthony Mackie, Falcon, looks over and sees somebody sat on a park bench. And they go over, and it's an old Steve Rogers, like 100 years old. And he decided, I'm choking up a bit, he decided that he was going to stay with Peggy and have that last dance. And have a full life of being with somebody that he loves. And I thought that was beautiful. That was a great way. Passes the shield on to Falcon, and that's it. And then they have a beautiful sort of funeral scene, but with everybody. Everybody is there. And when we were watching it, there was this young man sort of at the back. They do this pan shot where they go through, and you see the Guardians, and you see just everybody. Everybody is there, all sort of paying tribute to Tony Stark. And then there's this sort of young man there, and I thought, who's that? And I noticed on another video where somebody was talking about things that you might have missed. It's the little boy from Iron Man 3, and that was a beautiful touch. With Captain Marvel stood at the back, and then Nick Fury at the end. Go and see it. That's all I can say. It's a fantastic film. If you love Marvel, if you just love movies, go and see it at a cinema with a packed crowd. It is a fantastic experience. That's all I got to say. 5 toes up from me, 100%. What more can you say? So subscribe. Thank you for listening. Follow us, all that stuff. Listen to our Pavo and Neil chat podcast, and on YouTube as well. Thank you very much. That'll be it from me for now, and I'm going to go and see it again tomorrow.